Okay, welcome back. So this is, it says the third video, but it's the fourth video, right? The third video is the external one with the animations on effects of climate change on biodiversity. And that one's about global effects of climate change on biodiversity. But I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the more local effects of climate change on biodiversity in our region, in the Adirondack region. So I'm just going to go through some of them quickly. As I mentioned in the last video, snow cover is predicted to decrease as temperatures warm. So this graph is from a book called Climate Change in the Adirondacks by Jerry Jenkins. And essentially what he's showing here is in that map on the left, it's winter days with snow cover from 1960 to 1990. And you can see that was a great time to be skiing in the Adirondacks, right? So this part is the Adirondack. So this is a high peak. So there was great skiing up there, almost 3 full months of skiing up in the Adirondacks. Now, under scenario 1 predicted by the IPCC, if you use those predictions to model how many days of snow cover there will be, then it comes out to between 2070 and 2100 to there being only this many days of snow cover. So you can see it's greatly reduced. We'll have less than 45 days up here in the St. Lawrence Valley, and up in the Adirondacks, there will be no days that have 81 to 90. Excuse me, no areas that have 81 to 90. And in the High Peaks region up here, you're only going to have 63 to 72. So if you're someone who hates shoveling snow off your car, you might say, great, who cares, bring it on. But that would be a silly thing to wish for, because the accompanying changes that come along with this are negative for everybody, right? So you have changes in precipitation, it's harder to grow food. The economy related to winter sports in the Adirondacks, which is huge, will absolutely decline as there's less snow available. So what are some of the impacts on our local biodiversity? This is a complicated graph, but it's really interesting, and I'm going to explain it to you. So here's New York. That's the Adirondack Park, right? That green outline. What this is showing you is different species of birds that weren't in New York in 1900 and that are currently, that only existed south of New York and that are currently have arrived and are in different parts of New York. So they include the turkey vulture. So in 1925, that was first spotted in New York and now is found up in as far as southern Quebec. So in all of New York. That one you probably all know. It's the only vulture we have around here. These other species you may not know as well, the Carolina wren, mockingbird, and the blue-gray gnatcatcher, but they are all species that weren't in New York 100 years ago and are now up in far northern New York where we are. Here's some species that only showed up in extreme southern New York in 1900. And these include the ubiquitous cardinal, which hopefully many of you are familiar with and you would see if you have a bird feeder up anywhere like I do in my yard. So the cardinal was only in extreme southern New York, like in Long Island in the early 1900. But now it's up where we are. I see them at my bird feeder all the time and all the way up into southern Quebec because it's warmer. Here's a bunch of other species that we'll actually eventually lose. So these are species that in 1900 were already in this area, but as it gets warmer, they're moving out, they're moving up. So essentially what happens here is as these species move, they also affect their prey species, right? And their predator species. So their effect, if a plant depends on, for example, the Louisiana water thrush for seed dispersal, and then the Louisiana water thrush disappears from the area, that plant is out of luck. So these are some of the things that can happen as the temperatures are warming. If you're a fisher, if you like to go fishing, if you're an angler, these are some of the other really impactful changes that you're gonna see. So we're gonna see altered fisheries. Now this map over here, where can I sit here? I'm gonna go up here. Okay, so this map shows, okay, the orange is like, it's currently warm water fisheries, but it's projected to stay warm water fisheries. The red is current cold water fisheries, like a lot of fisheries around where we are, projected to be warm water fisheries. So what does that mean? Well, if you like fishing for trout, then you're going to notice this change because trout is a cold water fish. You're going to see more, instead of those, smallmouth bass, largemouth bass, bluegill, and shad. So this map is a national map, so not all these species occur here, right? But many of them do. And so you're going to see a lot of changes in the fisheries, which translate to changes in recreational income. And then also, we can also see some expansion of economically damaging species. So you saw in the animated video that, for example, the pitcher plant mosquitoes can now stay longer outside of dormancy. They go into dormancy later. And this is also what's happening with a lot of insect species that are invasive and really negative up here in the North Country. So for example, the spotted lanternfly is a beautiful insect, but what that does is it feeds on all kinds of fruit trees and berries and absolutely destroys them so that they're not marketable. So that has a major economic impact. And those spotted lanternflies couldn't have survived our climate a few decades ago, but now they can. They're invasive, they're of Asian origin, and they're coming over, or they're already in the southern New England, and now they're expanding into our region because they can, because it's warmer. What about the emerald ash borer? This is an example of the emerald ash borer's damage on an ash tree. We are projected to lose all of our ash trees in our region because of the vicious damage caused by the emerald ash borer. We haven't found a way to control it, and it's just ruthlessly taking out every ash tree in the entire Adirondacks. A lot of native communities and the Akwesasne communities are actually collecting ash because they use it for a lot of really important, actually don't understand everything about this, but I think basket making and some other traditional crafts. So they're collecting the ash because they know there's not going to be any ash soon. So this has economic, social, and cultural impacts. And that beetle is able to reproduce now twice a year because it's warm enough for it to do so. What's this picture over here? That is the blue-green algae. So a lot of people are getting really worried last summer because a lot of beaches were getting closed because of blue-green algae blooms. And people's dogs were going in the water and then dying because blue-green algae exudes a toxin. You actually can't, it's very dangerous to go in the water. So that made people really upset. And why is that happening? The water is warmer. There's extra fertilizer in the water. But the climate change contribution is that the water's warmer. So that can happen. Okay, so that's it for these videos. I'm gonna try and keep these videos short for you. For Wednesday, you don't have an additional reading besides your book reading that you had for today. Try and reach out to your teammates to connect with them so you can work together on Wednesday. I'm going to send you out emails about your teams. And remember that I will be online answering questions in the Moodle forum for this workshop from 1 to 1:50 on Wednesday, our normal class time. And then I also have office hours for our class. I think I forgot to mention that. And they are, right after class on Wednesdays. So right after class from 2 to 3 on Wednesdays, I will send out a Zoom link. People can join if they want and ask any questions that they want, or just say hi. Okay, thank you all and good luck doing the assessment.